Swag out there and bow.
What's going on, everybody? It's Webster Style, the man, the voice, the fragrance. Here with someone who I am very excited to talk to, and I know you're going to be very excited to listen to them. Someone who just came across my radar, who I'm just like, oh, I need to talk to her, and it's none other than content creator, Twitch streamer, podcaster, the lovely Pink Foxx. Pink Foxx, how you doing this evening?
Hi, I'm fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing great. Now, there's one thing that I want to ask. Well, it's a combination of a question. We're doing research, just trying to, see a little bit more about you, past your public profile, see some of the content you put out. Um, I want to know, one, how did you come up with the name Pink Foxx?
Oh, this is funny. I talked a little bit about this on my podcast. So, when I started out doing porn, I started in doing with feet. And I
Okay.
figured I'll wear pink nail polish all the time. And Fox was a name that was given to women who were attractive, started from the 1940s. So I was like, okay,
Gotcha.
Fox, Pink Fox. And from there things just changed, and here we are. So I didn't really, yeah, I sometimes I think maybe I should have changed the name, but I just, things kind of grew, so just stuck with it.
Okay. That's interesting. That's I guess, a very logical choice for a name considering how you started. Now, with that, doing research, there's another prominent Pink Fox. So do your fans ever get you two confused, or maybe have you guys ever talked? Okay.
Oh, no, no, I haven't uh gotten any like messages, or is this you, is this for real, or nothing like that. So
Okay. Because I found
no.
that because you two are couldn't be any more dissimilar. And I was like, okay, I didn't realize another Pink Fox, but that's interesting. Now, you talked about you started with feet. How did you transition from feet to more hardcore amateur stuff in your content?
Yeah, so I it's funny because when I started doing feet, it was for a while, and people would ask to see more, and
Mm,
I just I wasn't comfortable showing my face. Like, for a long time I would wear gloves, and then just over time, I just started to show more. The One of the biggest reasons why was because I was so afraid of people that knew me finding out what
right.
I do. So I definitely didn't want to reveal my face, but I had been doing porn for a few years, and people didn't know. They didn't recognize me. They didn't, the people that knew me had no idea what I was doing. So I was quietly doing porn. So I figured if I gotten this far, I think I'm okay.
Right.
So I ended up revealing my face. Um, and this is actually, I think, for another story, but there are some people that did find out, but things are good. Things are cool. Things are good. So it just gave me even more of a confidence boost to do what I do now, and
Mhm.
just embrace more of who I am as a person.
Understood. Understood. Now, with that, let me back up a little bit. One of the things with a lot of conversations I've been having lately is that there's kind of a void when it comes to just strictly amateur content. Um, I forget who I was talking to, but we were talking about back in the day of VHS, and where you had this content that was distinctly amateur in nature, from production to the camera angles. And I would say there's a drastic difference between somebody just thinking they could do an OnlyFans, and put up content, just them and their significant other, doing what they do in their bedroom, um, compared to something that's very amateur-esque, and then you have that other tier where it's like very much professionally done, but is just in that direct-to-consumer model. Your content is very much really has an essence of what someone like myself growing up in the 80s and 90s. What really has that essence of what amateur adult content was like. Is that something you strive for in what you do?
Yeah, quality was always important to me, and especially getting into porn. Even when I was doing the feet, I I wanted to do the best I could do with what I had, and I always wanted my content to look great. Um, and I'm inspired by movies too. I love watching movies, so that inspiration comes into my creative work. So I love, I'm proud to say I'm an amateur. Like I always want to be an amateur personally. And I also think that no studio would want to actually work with me. I don't think I have the look. I feel like I'm in my own like lane. So I try to be as creative as possible and just show show myself just different than what someone would expect, even a Black woman
Hmm.
to look like or act. I don't play too much into stereotypes. In fact, I tried my best to do just things differently. Um, so so yeah, like quality and all of that. And even the professional porn videos, I think are great. It's inspirational. But I love doing the amateur. It just feels a lot more real to me.
Hmm.
So that's where I want to stay at.
Understood. Well, that really answers my second question, so I'm not even going to ask that. But I find that really amazing, especially in today. So many so many individuals, male and female, who tend to go that direct consumer route, whatever platform they use, really strive to imitate the professionals.
Hmm.
And many fail miserably trying to imitate them as professionals instead of really being true to themselves and really trying to find their own voice. So
Right.
I really think that's a testament for you, your own personal growth to really understand, okay, this is what works for me. This is what's best for my creative process. And, this, the way I demonstrate what I do on camera really is the best way to portray me. And this is who I am. And it takes a lot, regardless of what you're doing. But I can only imagine in the adult industry, there are so many pressures to look a certain way, so many pressures to whether it's from a stereotypical standpoint or what consumers may want or think they want to produce content in that sort of way. Uh, I can understand there's a lot that really forces a content creator to try to make things to chase the buck instead of like the old Field of Dreams, if you build it, they will come. Make the sort of content that they are comfortable with, and your audience will find that content and then consume it.
That's so true, and that's what happened with me, and that's what continues to happen with me. When I started doing feet, more and more people started coming to me, and people would I do custom videos. I do a lot of custom videos, and people would throw out ideas and I would try them. And then that would put me in a category that I've never been in before. And then here comes more new people. I'm
Right.
meeting new people and it just keeps building from there. And I love the control that I have over my image. Of course, the content, I don't say yes to everything.
Right.
But what I do say yes to, I'm in control of what goes out. Um, and I have more autonomy with that. And I feel like I wouldn't get that with, although I think a professional studio is great. I just don't think I would work well in that type of dynamic.
Hmm.
So I just have to, maybe it's the control freak in me. I don't know, but I just have to I do have to have a say in what how things go. It's my brand.
Right.
It's not just about looking sexy and then thinking people are just going to throw money at you. You got there's a lot that goes into even amateur porn. If you want to be successful in it, you got to think about marketing. You got to think about branding. your image, customer service. That's a big one.
Right.
I love
Right.
being involved in all of that.
I think that's a very a good point. One of the things in the conversation I've had with other content creators, especially those who work for major studios, there is, the conversation about, being directed, having to do this, having to do that, really conforming to what they want. And there's something about being your own boss and doing what you want to do that just provides a layer of not just freedom itself, but creative freedom also, to really, express yourself how you want to.
Right. I totally agree with you with that. I feel so free. And now that I'm showing my face more, I feel even more free. Now, even when I was doing feet, I had to get really creative. I don't have the my bedroom is, it's not the greatest looking bedroom. I have these
Mhm.
plain walls. But I really try to work with what I have, and even I'll go to hotels and I try to utilize the room as much as possible. So there, there's definitely times where it's like, oh, I feel boxed in, but then it's a good thing because it
Mhm.
allows me to be more creative, and then that box expands even more.
Understood. Now, one of the things you really talked about was your brand, and your brand has expanded past your adult content. How or where did you get the idea to start the Foxhole podcast?
I like talking. I like talking. I don't have I didn't have like a lot of people around me to
Mhm.
talk about sex with, to have healthy conversations about sex with. I have the person I work with, my business partner, and of course we're talking all the time. And sometimes it would be nice to have a group of girlfriends. I just don't have that right now. So I figure if I'm out here, if I'm here doing this, I'm pretty sure there are other people that could relate to me. And it's just kind of, I had to get it out. I just had to say what I had to say. And even with that, that's growing. Like I'm not even sure what I'm going to talk about for the next episode, but I'm sure it'll come to me.
Okay. So, with that, are you looking to? Because I haven't listened to every episode, so I'm not sure if you've had a lot of guests. But are you looking to incorporate more guests into what you do? Are you looking to expand as far as like in the adult industry, as far as performers? What sort of, I guess, ideas do you have for the Foxhole going forward?
No, yeah, eventually I would love to have guests on on my podcast. And I'd love for them to share their experiences and all that, whatever they really want to share.
Okay. Now, how long have you been doing content?
Oh, it's been, I think, 3 years,
Okay.
3 years or so. Yeah.
Okay.
It's
So
been
not
less than 5.
okay, not super long, but I have no idea what the average lifespan of someone doing adult content is, but I think 3 years still sounds kind of long. I can only imagine, especially with everything that happened with the pandemic, there were probably a whole lot of people who started who aren't doing anymore. So I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure you had a precipitous drop in those that were doing adult content. And even with mainstream, I forget what they used to say, especially the female talent, what the lifespan was, but I think it was like 3 to 5 years as well. So you make it past that point, you're doing something right.
Yeah, I didn't know. And it's funny because when the pandemic hit, I was actually a wedding photographer for like
No.
over 8 years. Had my own business. Um, and things started to dry up. And when the pandemic hit, it,
Right.
it wiped my business out.
Right.
So I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? I got bills.
Right.
um, and then someone approached me about, they saw a picture of my feet, and it wasn't even posted out there to like even draw attention like that to my feet.
Right.
But they offered money. And I'm like, what is this? What is this? Like, there are
Right.
people out here buying feet pictures and stuff. And I did my research, and sure enough, and more. So I was like, okay, let me see what this is about. So, like, going back to how I started, I mean, that's how it started. I had no idea like it would take me to where I am now, but I knew going into it, if I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do the best I can do.
Understood. Now that's fascinating that you were a wedding photographer for 8 years. How does that artistic eye play into your content creation? Because you talked about the movie aspect, but being a photographer, I can I know I have an idea of how maybe like you're thinking of setting things up and the angles or even just like that photograph in your head of what you want to see on camera. How does that influence what you do in your process?
Oh, it greatly influences it. I go back to those days when I had weddings, and even I also edited pictures. So I know how I want myself to look in pictures, and I know how I want my videos to look. Um, but yeah, a lot of times with weddings, you can plan all day long and things just do not go as planned. So
Right.
it allowed me to think very quick on my feet. And even while I'm doing porn, I'm doing, creating content, whether it's something I want to create or a custom video, I have to I have to think quick on my feet because something doesn't go right.
Right.
And I have to do some acting, and I have to, not just play it off like things didn't happen, but I try to, utilize what's going on around me. And I had to do that with wedding photography. I had to utilize certain backdrops, or, if someone wasn't, you know, available, or, things just wasn't going right with this person. Okay, well, I have to shift gears and work over here with this one. And so, yeah, the spontaneity of it, the of course the lighting, I had the light scenes, um, keeping track of schedules and stuff.
Right.
I try to be I want to be on time for stuff.
Right.
So when we have a custom video, sometimes I have multiple. Okay, we need to get through this and this and this. So time management, all of that played a part in what I'm doing today.
Understood. And so that's I find that very fascinating, and that sounds like it. Maybe not a perfect segue into that, but definitely you already have the artistic eye. So I'm sure it's a benefit when it comes to creating your content. So yeah, that's really awesome. Now let's talk about another thing that you're doing, because you're not just podcasting, you're not just creating adult content. You're also Twitch streaming. How long have you been doing that?
I just started.
Okay,
I
that's
just
what I
started.
thought.
But I've been playing video games for years. Even Call of Duty is my favorite game,
Right.
and I had been playing Call of Duty for well over a year. I mean, when I first started, I absolutely sucked, and I just was just like, you know what, I'm gonna try to get better at this. So I would play like every night, and I'm a decent player. Um, yeah, yeah. So I love playing Call of Duty. So I figured, why not start a gaming channel and allow fans to connect with me in this way, see a different side of me. I
Right.
want to show more of my personality and who I am, and not just I don't consider Pink Fox as a character. Before I did, when I started, I thought I had to create this character, but as
Right.
I got more into doing amateur porn, I realized this person, Pink Fox, is actually me. I just need to accept that and allow myself to be myself,
Yeah.
allow myself to express myself.
Right. I totally understand because regardless of web style started as, webster style is me. So
Right.
I totally understand. Now, one of the things about, and I was looking at your Twitch stream, um, I saw you play Call of Duty. I find it fascinating. I am not a Call of Duty person. I don't know why when it comes to first person shooters, I have a thing about killing real people. It's not that I'm like some sort of passive, like it just like literally has never appealed to me. If we
I get it.
aliens, robots, I can deal with that. Real
They do
people.
have zombies.
Oh,
They do.
yes,
You
zombies.
can.
Yes, I love me some Left 4 Dead and Halo, and but I've never been a fan of Call of Duty. But I say that to say a lot of ladies that I've talked to that are into gaming like Call of Duty,
Really?
which I find because you are not the first content creator I've spoken to about gaming. With like, yeah, I play Call of Duty, and that's like all I play. I was like, wow, okay, and I
That's
find that very
awesome.
fascinating. But what even more so, you so far are really diversifying what sort of games that you play. You were playing a pool game the other day when you were online, and I was watching, and I forget what other game is. It's right down yours. But
Candy
your
Crush.
yes, Candy Crush. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yes. So you're playing a mix of console and mobile games, which I find very fascinating because one of the things I've seen with a lot of Twitch, can't talk, Twitch streamers is that they kind of get that one game to try to build an audience. And I have enjoyed streamers like yourself who play what the hell they want to play and not are trying to necessarily play to an algorithm or play the hottest, latest game to get people to watch. It's like, hey, I want to play. If you want to watch, you want to chat along, fine. If not, I'm still playing,
Right.
sort of thing.
Yeah, I just want to have fun.
Right. And I
Even with
appreciate,
porn, I just want to have fun.
right. And I appreciate that. And I think, at least from a gaming side, that shows a real passion for gaming itself, not just the potential monetary side and accolade side of Twitch. Because I've poked around and broadcast a couple times, but I'm not engaged. I'm like, I'm gonna play. Oh, it's built into the Xbox. Let me just turn it on and I'll broadcast Ghostbusters, whatever I'm playing, just because like I'm enjoying this and maybe somebody may enjoy watching. Because I know I've done that many times. Like I've just found a game like this is a really cool game to watch. I watch it. No talking, no nothing. It's just really great gameplay, really great story. And I think that's a really good way, like you said, to connect with your fans, to really give them an outlet of seeing a different side of you, more importantly. Because I think we're getting more and more of that now, as far as with social media and how many content creators are utilizing it to be more personable, not just the OnlyFans portion, but the Twitters, the Instagrams, because especially with Instagram, there's only so much you can show and do.
Right.
So many content creators are utilizing that to show different sides of themselves. While Twitter, pretty much do what you want on Twitter.
It's
uh,
all out there.
there are no guardrails as far as Twitter is
No.
concerned. But I find that really fascinating, and especially with the direct to consumer model, you know, you are engaging directly with your fans and growing that fan base. And it seems like, especially over the past few years, those that have been really successful, um, I wouldn't say so much monetarily, but at least building their brands and building their fan bases, are not just doing it on the OnlyFans, on the mini vids. They're building it really via Twitch, via Instagram, via really Twitter. Twitter's, because of the back and forth, a lot more people, even those who I've interviewed, are more active and more responsive on Twitter because of how it is compared to an Instagram. And that
Right.
I see is really fostering a lot of um, communication and with your fans, as well as, again, they know who you are. Like they see you as a real person. I think that's really what it is. Um, Being able to see these content creators as real people builds more of a connection.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I want.
Mm,
That's what I strive for with everything that I do. I want I I want to know who I'm talking to. Like I
right,
want to know, I want that connection. So, if people are looking at me, I'm pretty sure they want to know more
right,
about me. But in the beginning, I wouldn't try to show my personality. I wouldn't try to show my little funny, quirky side. Um, I because I thought I had to create this character, and I had misconceptions of what uh, a performer was
right,
and what porn was, and even an amateur um, performer, content creator, all of that. I think we can have these different misconceptions with each thing, and it kind of distorted my view a little bit. But now that I'm in it, now I can create the narrative, and I can be
right,
who I want to be, and be me.
right. Yeah, I think that's so important. Just you essentially found yourself in your voice in this medium, and
Right.
instead of putting yourself into a mold of maybe what you came up thinking it should be, or at least what other aspects has told you this is what it's supposed to be like. And I think that's very important for finding your own voice, not just in content creation, but for whatever it is, really finding yourself in what you're doing to make it your own. And I think when artists do that, that's artists in general, whether it's, art, like painting, especially music. And I think
Mhm.
everybody could, talk about artists who, you know, when they're speaking from who they are, not the persona, the music is so much better.
Yeah. I
So
think
much.
I think porn is so much better now than it was years ago. Even though I didn't even watch a lot of it, I probably
Mhm.
watched more porn than I've ever watched now that I'm, in it. Um, but having that connection and seeing people for people,
Right.
I think is so important, and also just um it's just it's necessary, not just to be successful and make a lot of money, but I think it's important for people to see who you are as a person, that there's you don't have
Yes.
to be ashamed of who you are. You don't have to hide yourself, because I thought I had to hide myself.
Right. Yeah, I think that's very true. And I think one of the things that is happening more so now, obviously not in all sectors, people have their opinions, but I think even when, say, you look, I would say you look down on the people, but you may not agree with what they do as far as making adult content, it is harder to dehumanize them now.
Mm,
Like, you
mhm.
still have to see them as a human being, as a person with feelings. And people can talk about, well, you do adult content, there's the consequence here, the consequences there, yada yada yada. Okay, great. I think most people, let me phrase that. I think a lot of people, especially based on a lot of conversations I've had, they are very well aware of stigma with doing adult content. Some
Yes.
people aren't gonna like it. Some people are gonna, you know, some people are in their ways. But
Right.
it's all a matter about accepting people who they are. But at the end of the day, it's still understanding that these individuals are human beings. So you may not like what they do. You may not like how they put themselves out there. But I think especially now, it is very hard for individuals to demonize them. And I think that's a step in the right direction.
Hmm.
Some people you can't help them, and we
Very true.
understand.
Which is why I kept the mask on for for a while,
Right.
um, because I was so afraid of what um, people not online so much would say, but
Right.
those who knew me in the flesh.
Right.
Um, yeah, and it's not a conversation you have every day with
That's
people,
very true.
too. So you know, um, so yeah, definitely. But it's like you're not going. You may not accept what I do,
Hmm.
or accept, or I should say, respect me, but you're gonna have to accept
Right.
what I do.
Right.
And I don't care if everyone doesn't know me for
Mhm.
me. Um, that's not the goal. I'm not gonna be everybody's cup of tea,
Right.
or coffee. I like coffee better.
Same here. Same here. At the end of the day, it's your life, and you have to live it as you see fit and what you feel is best for you, regardless of what anybody else thinks or says. No one else is waking up in your skin in the morning.
Very true. And no one else has my bills
Yeah,
too.
that is very
But
true as well.
which bill would you got an opinion, but which bill
Yes.
would you like to pay?
Right, right. Exactly. Now, you have the podcast, you have the Twitch channel, you have your content creation. Are there any other aspects that you are looking to expand the Pink Fox brand into?
Yes. Working on music.
Okay.
I I also I paint and I draw, and I also do 3D art. So I would love. It's been a while since I've done all of those things, but I would love to get back into that. I would love to get a really nice 3D printer and print out some of my sculptures. my digital sculptures and just do something with them, whether that's making them into sex toys or selling them in an art gallery,
Right.
or something. I just want to just at least have these things print out and see what I can do with it. The music, I always wanted to express myself musically. It's more of a passion thing for me. I'm not trying to be like Beyonce, but I definitely want to put more than one song out
Right.
in music videos. Film is another big inspiration for me. But I actually have a oh my gosh, why the word just like went away from me. What am I trying to say? I have a feature length script already written for an original story. I would love to see that come to life. Want to get back into painting, and yeah, and just be open to what else is out there. I really want to explore and keep myself open.
Understood. You're definitely a Jane of all trades,
It's
as
a
they
lot.
say. Yeah, yeah.
There's a lot I want to do in life. I also want to travel more too.
Well, that's awesome. Well, Pink Fox, I want to thank you very much for your time this evening. Tell all the folks where they can find you.
Thank you. So you can find me at officialpinkfox.com. There's all my social media. You can follow me there and connect with me there. Of course, my podcast, my gaming channel. I also have a sex toy that you can purchase and check out more of that on my website.
Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for your time and stay tuned for more. We'll see you next time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.